All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's call of the Crypto Mondays Collective. We've got a great featured guest returning for another talk today, Joe Vezzani, co-founder and CEO of LunarCrush. And we'll turn it over to Joe in just a few minutes. But first, just a little bit of housekeeping. We've got a great Crypto Mondays Bitcoin in New York today. Um, and then I'm sure going to hit the road. Next week is Crypto Monday Tel Aviv. They've got a great conference in Israel called Building Blocks in Tel Aviv on the 27th. So I'll be there for that. The following week is Crypto Monday Porto. Mihai, you going to make it to Porto? All right. Looking forward to catching up there.
I'll try to definitely be there, Lou. Looking forward to that.
That should be fun. I've never been. I heard it's amazing. And then the following week is Crypto Mondays Paris, which is Monday of Paris Blockchain Week. So if anybody's around, let me know, and we can hang out at a Crypto Mondays. We just finished from 12 to 1 the second general meeting of the Decentralized AI Agent Alliance, which is a group that Crypto Mondays set up to help foster the decentralized AI agent ecosystem. We started with 30 members when we launched, had our first meeting on February 17th, and a month later, we're at 53 members. So we're growing rapidly. We do the majority of our work through subgroups. And the meeting today, I spent a lot of time with the subgroups talking about the work that they're doing. And so, it's very early days, but very encouraged by the progress and I think the impact that the organization can have. So if anybody's on the call and is not a part of that, something you should definitely think about being a part of. And I don't know if anybody else has anything that they want to bring up, quickly mention before we turn the floor over to Joe. Going once, uh, twice. Okay, terrific. With that, Joe, I will turn the floor over to you. From
Cool. Thanks, Lou. Hello, everyone. Get some screen share going here. It's always more fun to look at some stuff than it is just to listen to someone talk at you. But yeah, thanks for having me back. It's always great to hear from you, Lou, and the team at Crypto Mondays. Appreciate all you do for the industry. My name is Joe Vezzani. I'm the CEO and co-founder of LunarCrush. We started back in 2018 in this industry, which 7 years operating a business in crypto seems like an entire lifetime. Back then, I remember raising capital for the first time, and I think it was early 2019, and people were like, I thought like Bitcoin was done. I thought Bitcoin went away. And that was a very interesting time, as were a lot of the other kind of bear cycles that were out there. So to see where we are today with ETFs and billions and billions of dollars traded every day, thousands and thousands of different tokens out there. And even where we are today, with the regulatory tailwinds that I've never seen in my time. It's a pretty exciting time to be, I think, in the industry and to be all in. And so, when we started LunarCrush, we started with this idea, without a community, there is no crypto. That was kind of like that was our line. And it was mainly because, when we look at traditional analysis of something like stocks or equities, there's cash flows, there's earnings reports, there's 10Ks, there's all these kind of traditional ways that you delineate value. And, with crypto, we didn't have that with a lot of the projects. Like, sure, there were wallet addresses or, GitHub, like, commits and little things like that. But you really had a hard time kind of gauging, what the difference was in these community sizes and what people were excited about. And this was, long before Wall Street bets or anything was kind of crazy with GameStop. And so for us, we were, pretty early, I would say, in figuring out, what social media looked like for, markets and for traded value. And, at the time, we just had this kind of like cryptocurrency category, where we would rank all the different cryptocurrencies. And, when you were looking at something like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, this is kind of what your used to seeing, right? You're used to seeing, the market cap of the largest project, which is obviously Bitcoin. And then, kind of going down the line and look at Ethereum, almost looks like it's going to get past at some point here. But with LunarCrush, you look at the market a little bit differently. You look at it from a more social point of view. And so when I kind of sort this table in crypto by alt rank, that's one of our scores that really looks at, price performance versus the entire market. But it is really looking at, is this project, from a social perspective, a market volume perspective, or a price perspective, really moving? And so a lot of our customers that come to LunarCrush, they like to look at the market from this perspective, right? And a lot of our customers on this side, I would say, are, just individual traders, professional traders, people that are coming in and saying, hey, I want to find a little bit of an edge on the market, and I want to see the market a little bit differently than the rest of the people are looking at it. And so this is data that comes in real time. We pull and process 30 to 50 million posts an hour across places like Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, all the news out there. And so we like to look at the market a little bit differently than the rest of the platforms that are out there. And, I know this is Crypto Mondays, but, over the years, we did add a lot of different categories where people can kind of see what's moving from a social perspective across a lot of different things, right? So if you're about to watch, NCAA men's basketball, and we've got March Madness coming up here this weekend, you might want to look at the NCAA basketball category that's out there. So a lot of fun stuff, or stocks, right? So it's like there's stocks that are out there that you're interested in. So back to crypto though, it's a fun platform to be on. We've spent a lot of time, looking through, tens of thousands of different, cryptocurrencies to kind of understand, what people like to look at. We even have like top creators. So who are the people that are talking about these projects the most? How many mentions and how many creators are talking about Bitcoin every single hour. We did launch a cool little AI feature here called What's Up. So what it does is it kind of takes the posts and news that's trending right now in the last couple hours and tries to summarize in a very quick manner what is up with the project that you're looking at. And so, if there's kind of some, altcoins out there that you've, got an affinity for, go ahead and check out that page and let me know if you think that is pretty accurate. AI does hallucinate, but we've got some really awesome summaries that come through. And so, there's some fun stuff that you can kind of gather, from the data. Here's like a good look at, the sentiment across Bitcoin. So all of those thousands of posts that we pull every single hour for Bitcoin, and all the stocks and all the topics that we have, we're analyzing those to understand, are people a little bit more bullish? Are they a little bit more bearish with what's happening in crypto? People, even if the prices are, going down, tend to be like permanently bullish. It's just the way the market, but you do tend to find, that there are, some pretty, specific moments where people get a little bit more bearish, right? And so like, this is a really good output for our API. Actually, we've got a lot of customers that just pull our raw data. Like Coinbase is a customer, Kraken, OKX, Brevin Howard is a large hedge fund that utilizes our data, and they're pulling some of this stuff and looking like this is a moment where, Bitcoin had a very, and the entire market was a little bit more bearish. This was, if you remember, the yen carry trade, the unwind that happened for a couple days, and then the rewind of that. But sentiment got down to 68%, where it was kind of averaging 70 to 90. And so you can kind of see in the last week or two here, it's been a little bit rougher in the market. Sentiment did kind of dip down, and this is a daily, but intraday it actually went a lot lower than this. And so a lot of people are, it's a odd market out there right now, but not financial advice, but I would say, we are getting close to a little bottom here. It does feel like. So really, really cool stuff that you can come check out. Obviously, like if you're into stocks too, come and check some of these things out. There's a lot of data on here for people that are trading stocks. kind of sticking with crypto here. I'm happy to answer any questions or listen to, if anyone has any questions about LunarCrush, the market. But definitely wanted to kind of get in here and show you guys some fun things when it comes to social media.
No, this is great. Yeah, obviously you've been doing this for a while. Can you talk about kind of how your user base has evolved over that time?
Yeah, I mean, you always listen to your users, and you're trying to build cool things, that they want to see. I think from our perspective, you're also thinking about the thing that maybe they're not thinking about, right? And you're trying to kind of lead them down a direction, of cool things. Like that's what we do all day, right? We're sitting here thinking about fun stuff to showcase to them. I'd say, big piece of our user base, are people that are coming in and just looking for what's hot in the market. I would say a lot of people that are like swing traders or day traders, people that are coming in and just saying, or people that say, hey, I hold, Arbitrum, right? And I've held Arbitrum for, a long time. Like, is this something that I need to unload, or is this something that I need to kind of keep? And so I think a lot of people will come to our site also and look through things like that. But it kind of depends. We also have a lot of like API customers. So if you are like a developer, and you want to kind of pull some cool data, where you're either creating a cool like bot that's going to look for the latest Solana meme coin that's launched, and you're going to try to look for that contract address like the second a liquidity pool is launched. There are people that do like insane real-time trading, and that's a big piece of what we got going on. But then also there are people that build their app on top of our data. So we've got different companies that pull sentiment data and they come up with their cool charts and dashboards. And so we've kind of turned into, I would say, like the infrastructure for social media building. And, where we've really kind of changed is that, back in 2019, if you open this search bar, you could really only search like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a couple other cryptocurrencies. And then today, you can type anything into this search bar and get a result. And so what we're doing is we're actually kind of turning into what we're kind of calling just like search for social media, where, I think 5 years ago, it was just crypto only. But now it's, we have lots of marketers from different companies utilizing this, tracking hashtags in real time, trying to really stay on top of what's happening in the market. You can even search for Donald Trump.
Well, I mean, I obviously given that I guess the industry's grown a little slower than we had all hoped in 2018. Made sense for you guys to go into other markets. Do you find them related? Are there benefits to being in crypto markets than and being in obviously I would assume there's correlation with the stock market.
Yes, I mean 22 and 23 were very hard, as they were I think for the rest of the market as well. I had a lot of friends.
No, I mean surviving that was success. So kudos.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thank you. Yeah, that was a tough time, but 24 was great, probably our best year by far. And so things went really well in 24. Beginning of this year, I think people probably thought things would be a little bit more bullish due to kind of the regulatory tailwinds, but I think the overall macro environment has been a little bit rougher, on the industry. But I think the positive is kind of, Bitcoin's never existed in a positive macro and positive regulatory environment together. It's never happened before. So when the macro environment does return to being a more positive macro environment, we could, we're going to see something we've never seen. So that's pretty exciting, I would say, for people in the industry. But yeah, definitely, the first 2 months here, crypto users, we've, a lot of people.
How do you describe something you've never seen before? And then
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. I wish I had the answer to that. I hope it means 250K Bitcoin. I hope it means an influx of more builders and developers wanting to come into the industry. I hope it means more startups. I hope it means less pump.fund tokens. We'll see what it turns into.
What do you think about decoupling?
We just talked about that this morning. I mean, Bitcoin still trades like a a high beta like tech stock.
Yes, a very high beta.
Yeah, so which is okay, but I think there's at some point it could change. But that being said, I mean, I know the hardcore Bitcoiners probably they don't like the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. They might not even like the Bitcoin ETF. But that ship has sailed, and I think it's are you dealing in reality, or are you dealing where you want to believe the reality is? And so the reality is that we have a president that launched a meme token a day before he got in the office, and so that's the reality that we're in. And so how do you position yourself in that reality?
I think that makes sense. What about you mentioned AI? How are you integrating that into the business, and is it having a real impact yet?
Yes, I think any startup, in the Valley or anywhere else is utilizing AI in some way, shape, or form within their application. Like this is just like one aspect for us is, just, here we utilize AI to, look at thousands of different posts, figure out sentiment, and help summarize that. Right. And like we have really awesome data that allows us to do things like this. And that's just how it kind of showed up in our front end. It also shows up on all the different posts and sentiment where like, in 2018, you use kind of like a nascent version of TensorFlow and machine learning and you got to mark, thousands of posts, in order to kind of show up there. So I think it's been great for us to integrate. Obviously, like I think it has more of an effect on the content and marketing side of the businesses. Like our marketing, we haven't had the productivity side of what we've done from like a marketing side has been incredible. What we can design out and put out to the world is up, and the quality that we can put out is really high with even a small team. So I think that's having a really big impact. I mean, personally, it makes a big impact for a lot of things that I do. If I had a reporter that would come to me and say like, hey, can you give me a quick summary of what your thoughts are on this event that's happening, right? I could just take like 10 screenshots from our app and then type 4 things in and say, hey, can you give a summary of this? And it could, kick out something really, really good. And it's like, you might have needed like a PR team for that. And now it's like, I don't have to do any of those things. So I think the efficiency is there. I think it's a great thing.
Very interesting. Okay, well, if anybody else has, I could ask questions all day, but Aaron, you're up first, and anybody else? Yeah.
Thanks, Lou. Thanks, Joe. It's Aaron here. I'm on the core team at Houdini Swap. Just have a quick question for you. So a lot of the screening that you're doing here is around like social sentiment APIs pulling from all these different social media platforms and stuff like that. But it's like, I'm just trying to like understand the client base, like is it retail, is it institutional? I can't imagine retail screening for anything, at least the retail crowd that I know. And then the institutional crowd that does screen would screen for stuff like cash flows and like liquidity unlocks and like daily active users, monthly active users, volume, stuff to kind of get a DCF pumped out. So just curious, like where you guys sit and, I'll start with that. I have a couple other questions, but just curious about that idea of retail versus institutional, like who in retail actually screens. I mean, that's asking a lot out of retail these days, I feel, at least my circle.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have both. So we have thousands of retail customers that come into LunarCrush and they pay $30 a month to get access to these dashboards. But then we also have API users, and they use it for, social media data can be used for so many different things. What we kind of consider ourselves good at is getting a real-time social media, cleaning it for spam, but also having just tons of raw data. And so from the B2B side, you've got Coinbase that utilizes our data to help, make their explore pages more robust so their SEO goes up. Same thing for someone like the Kraken, they use it for that, but then they're also building out applications, right? And then you've got, just pure hedge fund oriented, long, short, that are pulling data and they have their thesis, and we are one of the data feeds that goes into the model. And so what we've really kind of found over there is that social data is, it's not the entire story, and it never has been, but it has to be a part of your strategy, or you're missing something.
Yeah.
And so we kind of provide like that side of it.
Yeah, really, really well said. Do you guys on the B2B side, like how do you guys make money? Like just curious. Like is it mostly B2B? Is it mostly retail, like the consumer facing product? Like what's the pricing like? Just curious about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty evenly split.
Okay.
Between individual, and then builder is kind of like increased API access for people that are, I would say, like more pro, like less hobbyist type people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might have a small business, or have done well for themselves from a training perspective, that are also developers. And then custom allows people heightened access to the API, plus other API endpoints that otherwise wouldn't be available to the other plans.
Okay. And then like last question, I'll turn it over. Sorry, guys. Just last thing is like, how do you guys differentiate between like a Cato AI, or like some of the other kind of players that have come out into the space, like Santiment, stuff like that? Or are you guys all just kind of in bed with each other, and it's all kind of just pooling each other's data, or using the best of both? If you can share that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, no, Santiment's been around for a long time. I think they've
Yeah.
kind of skewed more towards like on-chain data. Over the years, we've had different people that have kind of popped up and went away. Like social data is very hard. I would say the market, from a social perspective for crypto, there's a specific probably TAM that's out there that we're all kind of going towards. It's been great to kind of see someone like Kaito come out and bring, I think, more eyeballs into this industry. But again, it's a hard thing. And so everyone, I think the defensibility of it for us, we've been around for a long time. Like, for example, like we actually get tons of customers now from ChatGPT. When you ask ChatGPT for social data, it references all of our docs and everything, which is great. But again, the way that we collect data, like I don't know exactly how Kaito gets all of their data, but I know that it's probably slightly different than what we've done, right? And then we have, historical references of our data, and people have built models off of that, and they built models off of alt-rank. And alt-rank is, yes, it's social data, but it has other stuff in there too. And so what we kind of pride ourselves on is that real-time aspect of what's going on. I also think, like from talking to other folks, like our individual plan is $30 a month, and it offers a lot more than what Kaito charges at $1,000 a month. So what we've tried to always do is kind of democratize that opportunity. I think they've come out with a really cool thing with these Kaito Yaps. We did launch something like that about a year ago, and what they're running into right now is the thing that's wrong with, and the problem with that model is that you can never rid out spam on specifically X entirely, and so they're basically gonna flame out on a couple of different things. When it comes to spam and bots, and you just can't stay ahead of it. And so it, unfortunately, it's going to probably split their focus up as a company between that and then launching a token. That's going to be a little bit rough for them, but I am rooting for them because it proves out our model too.
Yeah. And then just, sorry, super, like very, very last one. I apologize.
Hey. Look,
Come on.
You said that the last time. You said that the last time.
But
get back in line.
Get back
in line. Yeah.
I think these are solid questions.
Come on. I'm about to boot you off.
Okay, fine. I'll shut up.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
You can send me a note, Aaron, too, or I can answer at the end. I do have a little bit of time.
Yeah. So Praveen, thank you for waiting.
Hey, thanks. Hey, Joe, I'm actually Alon's friend. Worked together on 805 startups and other things.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks like a really good update and such. So wondering what you think about today's announcement from Robinhood about having an events contract hub. And the second question is, do you remember StockTwits out of San Diego? Like, Howard Lizon and all them, like they eventually added trading directly in platform. Do you have plans for that?
I don't know the entire story on the Robinhood story. I haven't seen it. Is it prediction markets?
Yeah, it's prediction markets. So
Okay.
so from that point of view, from a Lunar Crush point of view, like you had the Trump page up just now. They're talking about doing things about predicting, kind of like what Trump's going to do, that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, great question. So, I was even talking, with a bunch of the different prediction markets out there, because, if you look at this page right here, this huge social spike happened just before Kamala announced that she was going to be running. And if you had been paying attention to this social data in this much detail, you could have crushed that prediction market. And so there's a huge market here. I'm a big fan of prediction markets, and I think that there's probably some sort of better world where, even at this time, when this happened here, we always we're kind of scanning the market for new tokens that are out there at the same time. And, there were like 50 different tokens launched, like different spellings of Kamala, like, because people are trying to kind of trade social, right? And like one way that they can trade social is to launch a token that everyone goes after, and they're kind of just like trading like words, even when like Donald Trump had his first kind of State of the Union, like there was like every time he'd say an interesting or different word, someone would just be like launching a token of that word, right? And it's just this, people are gravitating towards this kind of social market, and I think actually prediction markets capture that in a way more efficient and better manner than just launching a new token. So I'm bullish on it. I think that our data is huge for those markets. Candidly, I'm reaching out and talking to some of these folks as well. So yeah, no, great call out there. StockTwits, yep, super familiar with StockTwits. I've talked with Howard many times, known him for many years. In an informal manner. Big fan of what they're doing. And I know they've gone through a bunch of different changes. I think they're unwinding the brokerage, to be honest with you. I don't think it worked. And we did go through that as well. It was probably like 23, where we had a cross-chain router. You could buy Bitcoin on LunarCrush. You could do, we had anything. You could get to anywhere. And it didn't work. Just fell flat. And I think part of that is the trust that people have created. It was especially even a time where connecting your wallet to anything new, and we had, even though we had been out for a long time, people had not traded with us. And so there were some trades, and it worked really well. But at the same time, when you have, like, our focus is social media, and like going forward, if you're like, hey, are you going to add some on-chain data? It's like, no, we're going to probably add Facebook data. We're going to add Instagram data. We're going to stay into social. We're going to go deeper into social and keep the focus there versus anything else. And when you add trading on top of something, it's a tough business. And sure, it sounds great, but like OKX's DEX, or I think it was that. Yeah, I think they announced today. Or was it OKX? No, Binance announced like 0 trading fees for like 6 months. So as a startup, you can't. It's not a good place to compete, I would say.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Whoop, sorry, that was on mute. Yeah, I'm a big fan of StockTwits and Howard as well. Actually, he had a good tweet a couple weeks ago that he had realized that a long time ago that he had like been born at the perfect time in America, like the benefit technology. He said, yeah, he also recently just realized it was going to be dying right time.
Yeah, he's a comedian as well.
Yes, exactly. So thanks, Praveen and Albert.
Yeah, thanks, Lou. Yeah, big fan. So you said you guys are like a data infrastructure provider. I mean, have there been a lot of like crypto report companies like collaborating with you to use your data to create investor reports?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is yes. There's articles that are written all the time referencing our data. We see our data kind of popping up in different reports all over the place constantly. I wouldn't say we have any sort of official partnership with anyone. For us, it's just signing up, as many retail customers and as many API users as we possibly can. And then, if someone does have a cool implementation of our API, we try to showcase that. But it's tough for us to specifically, partner, with one, crypto publication or anything else, just because we do have so much different type of data in different categories. With a small team, how would you, go down all of those categories and say, hey, we're going to also partner with like the Cubs to help them. So, that's kind of our take on that. But yeah, the short answer is like, yes, like lots of people utilize this data to create kind of reports, whether it's internally for their businesses and they're adding different, if you're Skechers and you're adding different shoes and product lines to this to track, it happens all over the place.
Yeah, that's super cool. And you said it starts at $30 a month, right?
Yes.
Wow, that's quite an achievement.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for building this.
Mhm.
And last question, how much coverage you have in like in the Bitcoin, like altcoin market?
As far as like, what do we have
Like
listed?
maybe like Runes or BRC20, or there's more and more like utility tokens coming out of that.
Yeah. We have BRC20s. We have Runes on here. We're kind of, big into the kind of Bitcoin L2 ecosystem. We even built an NFT project on Stacks called Nakamoto One, where I don't know if you guys saw the lunar lander that landed 2 weeks ago. We were the first people to put Bitcoin on the moon 2 weeks ago. And so even though the lander tipped, we might be the only successful mission on that one, but we did,
Cool.
we did send up like 2 Bitcoin, a bunch of Stacks, SBTC, and then a bunch of like NFTs. And so we kind of created like humanity's, burn address on the moon, if you will. But the goal here was just to kind of like get people excited about Bitcoin and physics. And at some point, those 2 Bitcoin, and then people keep sending Bitcoin there, will be enough to make sense to financially go get this thing on the moon. So that's something fun that we also worked on. But yeah, we're big into the kind of Bitcoin L2 side.
Yeah, very cool. Wow, you guys have like really nice coverage across like the board. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Steve?
Hi, I'm Steve Besor. How are you? I have 2 questions. One is just about I think there's a investment thesis that says you should just invest in data companies that are providing data for people to trade on. So how does one invest in LunarCrush?
Great question. We're not doing a round right now. We did do a Series A in 23. And we actually don't have a target date of when we're potentially going to need to raise again, which is a very positive thing for us as a company.
Yeah, hopefully never.
Yeah, hopefully never again. But you never know where things land, and if there's some growth opportunities where we need to go, whether it's like raise some debt or do another equity financing. So you got my information, but shoot me a note, and I'll definitely reach out when it's time.
Okay, great. And the second question is about prediction markets. I actually, I guess my way of thinking about it is a little different than yours. I think companies that are based around prediction markets are kind of doomed because of meme coins. I feel like meme coins are prediction markets, and that it's almost like decentralizing the prediction market and creating a giant market of just prediction markets that is better than, a Gallup poll, for example. And I think in the election, we learned that, like the people who are willing to put their money behind Trump, proved to be right. And, polls and, third-party secondary information proved to not be right. So what do you think about that way of seeing the world?
Yeah, I agree. I think that the prediction markets are extremely efficient. And I think they, I messaged like their CEO of Polymarket, and I was, and I tried to message him, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna message him like when the election's going crazy, because it's like that's going to be their number one time, and I think that's the best product market fit for them right now. That being said, they're probably trying a bunch of different things right now, but when there's these, I think everyone in whatever country or America are looking at like anything political or any large event that's coming up that people are trying to kind of predict out. I think it's an extremely efficient and awesome thing. I agree with you, and that's kind of why I said people are just like launching tons of meme coins on this side while the prediction markets are going. I wish the meme coins were more efficient, but I think what you kind of notice, and we see tons of projects
meaning that more people could see a particular meme coin, it doesn't just get launched into a void.
Meaning we see tons of different projects launched every day. Like that's kind of what we do, is like when new projects come in, we have to make sure we match the social media with that new project that came in. And you start to notice a pattern in projects that kind of get into the periphery of like the zeitgeist of tradability. And it's because it's probably this like cabal of like 50 people that know the exact science on what to launch, how to launch it. How do I take enough liquidity, right? Like they started at the right price, and there's maybe 100K in liquidity on both sides. They launch it on Solana. They have the cool kind of meme logo, and it goes out there. And so I think that, but those are like the same people. What I meant by, if it was more democratized where anyone could launch anything into the preview, it's like we could go right now and try to launch something on Pump.Fun, and it's not, it might not do as well as if that crew of people that have kind of perfected that model would get it out there. So I just don't know if the efficiency is there to do it yet. That's why I do like the prediction markets better, because it's not just this like token that someone can control and then potentially rug on. It's more like, hey, it's this like thing that's in a box where we can all put a little bit of money towards, and there's a final outcome towards it, where it's like, what's the final outcome? But I do agree with you on like, I think it's a cool way to trade the market in a way. I think it just needs to be tweaked, because people are like, well, what's the point of these things? They go straight up and they come straight down. I'm like, well, I'm going to go bet on Michigan State to win, the first round of the NCAA bracket. And like, that has a finite ending too. Right. So like, I don't care about the finite ending. It's just like, I wish it was marked a little bit better. And like, it's just I agree with you. It's just a different way.
And more democratized. Yeah, that would make it more efficient. I mean, sometimes that kills the market, right? You had ringtones, and then you had roll your own ringtones. And that just, completely decimated anybody trying to make a ringtone company. So that's what I think of prediction market companies.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to think about it.
Killer. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, let's see. Albert put in the chat, how do we connect after your talk today?
Just shoot me an email, just joe@lunarcrush.com. Happy to chat with anyone or answer any questions, or whatever else it may be.
Okay, terrific. Well, thanks a lot for taking the time today. It was an enjoyable talk. Had a lot of questions, and look forward to having you back down the road. Hopefully, running into you at one of these events. You're going to be doing much traveling coming up?
We'll do the Bitcoin conference, so it's always a fun one for us.
Yeah, well, you get to drive there if you want.
Lou, can I ask a final question?
Charles?
Sure. Please. Joe, so who is this cabal of 50 people who control all launches?
I don't know. It's just the pattern is so obvious that, unless it's just maybe it's one person following the next person's step, but I have a hard time thinking that, someone is willing to constantly risk, $1 million in the same exact way without having some sort of model out there. Yeah, it might be, there you go, the DEXs, Aaron's thinking, he's saying Jupiter Meteor. It's the DEXs maybe that are out there, but it's so tough. But again, people are going to chase it, right? Because they know that there's that 24 to 48 hours, that those things are going to go. But I do hope it slows down. I just don't know if it will, but maybe the consumer is now smart enough, right? And there's going to be less and less people chasing that. But I don't know, history tends to kind of repeat itself in our industry. So the next time things get super hot, you're going to see tons of memes coins launched. You're going to see people going crazy. There's going to be some other narrative outside of AI or DPIN or DSI that's happening that everyone's going to chase, and the wheel just keeps going round and round.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I think we're all here, because we want to do what we want to do, and we don't want the government telling us what we can do and can't do. But then when people go do things like meme coins, a lot of us look down our nose at that and say, well, that's bad. I mean, it is what it is. Why people do it, I don't understand. It's not for me, but I certainly appreciate that it's a thing, and it's probably going to be a bigger thing tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the previous cycle was, probably that Robinhood trading class that was out there kind of dipping into crypto a little bit. What you could maybe potentially call like white collar millennial, had their first job where, they started to make a little bit of money and they wanted to kind of invest that into things that, were a little bit riskier. I think this last little mini cycle that we had was the even younger. I think that was like Gen Z's first like foray into just going crazy. I mean, all these kids like, at the gym on their phones, just like going through and like trying to trade meme coins and just, with the little bit of money that they had, on their first jobs. And I think they now all got burned. Right. And so maybe it'll be the next cycle that kind of comes up and it'll be a different crew. But I think that there's the positive side to that, is there's a lot of kids that got exposed to investing, right, for the first time and understand what markets look like. And, I don't know about you guys, but the first time I got access to, my dad's E-Trade account, I think I nuked it in like 2 weeks on some sort of penny stock that I accidentally, like, I didn't even know how like the app worked, right? Like, and I think I probably bought something and it was like, oh, there's like literally no liquidity in that. And when I sold it, it went to zero. Whoops. So I think there's a lot of people that it's just a learning process. And I hope that people didn't, I think it's probably, not that much money that these kids are actually playing with, but it was enough to move liquidity on a bunch of $2 million market cap meme coins, right? Where like the first cycle, it was a little bit more money. It's people investing 10, 20, $30,000 into Avalanche, right? And like a lot more liquidity. But we'll see where the next one goes. I mean, I think the most interesting thing about a lot of these layer ones, I mean, even when you look at like Block One and EOS or Tezos, right? Like these people have 20, 30,000 Bitcoin in their treasury, right? And so like, even if those blockchains completely went away, they have more money than most of the college endowments, like in the United States. Like they're not, like, as long as they manage the money correctly, these people will be around forever. So that's kind of like the crazy world that we're in, but it'll be, we'll see what happens here over this next year. But I do wish to see what a raging bull market will look like with these, with the regulation where it's at. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I think, I had not heard that perspective about, we have had, both the positive governmental, regulatory environment and a positive, macro environment. So that does make sense.
Yeah.
And we know that day's coming eventually.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, thanks again, and thanks for everyone. And I'm in the back of my Uber on the way to Crypto Mondays Bitcoin in the city. So hope to see some of you there. And thanks again, Joe. Happy Crypto Monday, everyone.
Nice to meet everyone. Thank you.